Good morning, Year 3. Today we're going to be learning about apostrophes. Now, we already use apostrophes in our work. We usually use them for contractions, which we learned about in Year 2, when we're having two words and we're putting them together and we'd add an apostrophe. So, do not will become don't. Today I'm going to show you a different use of an apostrophe. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go through the PowerPoint with you. And I'm also going to share my smartboard as well so I can really model how to add apostrophes and where those trickier areas might be. So I'm going to do that to start with. Share my screen. Bearing with me. There we go. Okay, so you should see me, a little person in the top corner. So Wednesday, the 13th of January, lesson 3, to understand when to add apostrophes in sentences. Our steps to success are to identify an apostrophe for possession. I can place the apostrophe in a sentence correctly, and I can write my own sentences using apostrophes correctly. So apostrophes that we're going to be looking at today are to show possession. When you own something, we can use apostrophe to show ownership. So let me introduce you to somebody. This is Michael. This torch is owned by Michael. So who owns the torch? Michael owns the torch. So when we talk, we might say, oh, this is Michael's torch. And we write it down as this. It is Michael's torch. So you can see, we've got my arrow on the screen here, where we add an apostrophe and an S after the person who owns what we're talking about. We're talking about the torch. So it is Michael's torch. And it always goes at the end of the owner, rather than at the end of the word or the thing that he owns or she owns. Okay, are you with me so far? Right, I'm going to show you another example. I'm going to introduce you to a new character. Her name is Jess. Hello, it's me. Her name already ends in an S. And this is sometimes where the trickiest part is. Her name ends in S. The torch is owned by Jess. So what would that be if I'm saying the torch is owned by Jess? It is Jess's torch. So I'm saying it is Jess's torch. But you can see here, her name already ends in S. So what we do, we add an apostrophe and a third S. So an apostrophe S. I'm just going to stop sharing this screen at the moment. I'm going to switch to another smartboard so I can show you some more names that might end in S. Okay, so I'm going to stop share screen again, and find my smartboard. There we go. Okay, so other names that end in S, we have Iris, that's a girl's name, James, and just other words, other nouns that end in S, like walrus. Now, none of these, even though they end in S, they're not plural words, they're singular words. So Iris is one person. Iris's Iris's balloon floated away. So the balloon is owned by Iris. So we want Iris's balloon floated away. So what we do, remember, at the end of the person who owns it, add an apostrophe and another S. So Iris's balloon floated away. At the end of the sentence, what do we need? Full stop. Okay. James, singular person, just ends in an S. James' shoe kept falling off when he walked. So who does the shoe belong to? Belongs to James. So we want James's shoe kept falling off when he walked. So at the end of James, we add an apostrophe and a funny looking S. So James's shoe kept falling off when he walked. Now the third sentence is about the walrus, a lovely marine mammal that lives on the seaside, and they go into the sea obviously to catch their food. The walrus's tusk was extremely strong. So the tusks belong to the walrus. So they are the walrus's tusk. So here we add an S, an apostrophe. I'm going to make that a bit smaller. They only need to be little tiny apostrophes above, a bit like a comma. So a little apostrophe and another S. So the walrus's tusk was extremely strong. So there are 3 examples there of just words that already end in S but are not plurals. Okay. I am going to new share. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. Okay. So here we were. So there were just examples there for you. Remember the first one, I'm just going to go back, is named and end in an S. So we just add an apostrophe S. And when we do have names that end in S, we still add the apostrophe S. So we're going to show apostrophes to show ownership when there's more than one person or thing or object that we are talking about. So we're going to look at the birds. So when we have plural words, here are the birds. Now plural words usually end in S. 1 bird, 3 birds. What do you think is going to happen when we want to add the apostrophe to show what the birds are eating? The birds have got some seeds. This seed is for the birds. So the sentence we want is, it is the bird's seed. The seed belongs to the birds. Now look at where the apostrophe is now. It is at the end of the plural word that already ends in S. So we just add an apostrophe. You don't add S. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. It would say, it is the bird's seed. We don't say the bird's seed. It is the bird's seed. So the apostrophe goes at the end where the S is. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen again. I'm going to switch back to my whiteboard so you can see some more examples. Share screen. Where did I put it? There it is. So we've done that one. So these ones here. And we've got the dog's ears were twitching. So the ears belong to the dogs, and we're talking about more than one dog, 2 or 3 dogs. The dog's ears were twitching. So who do the ears belong to? They belong to the dogs. So where does my apostrophe need to go? Have a think. It needs to go at the end of dogs. So at the end of the S. Okay, the dog's ears were twitching. At the end of the sentence, we need a full stop. Okay, the next sentence. The girls' PE bags were all in a muddle. Whoops. Sorry. The girls' PE bags were all in the muddle. So who do the PE bags belong to? They belong to the girls. So where does my apostrophe need to go? Have a think. So we should be putting the apostrophe at the end of girls, because we're talking about more than one girl, girls, and the PE bags belong to the girls. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to switch to a different colour here, because I'm going to show you some big mistakes that people tend to make when they're adding apostrophes. We only want to add an apostrophe where there is possession or a contraction. Okay. Now, a really common mistake is to just add apostrophes wherever there is an S at the end of a word, and that simply isn't right. So we only add apostrophe when there's possession, when something belongs to somebody, whether that name ends in an S or we're thinking about a plural word that already ends in an S. So the reason why I chose these two sentences is because people tend to put apostrophes here and they tend to put apostrophes here. Why do you think someone might put an apostrophe in the middle of ears? And why do you think someone might put an apostrophe in the middle of bags? It's all to do with the fact that they're plural words already. Dogs don't just have one ear, they might do, but dogs normally have two ears. So the dog's ears is plural. But that's not what we're showing the possession for. The ears don't own dogs, dogs own ears. A bit like the girls' pee bags. The pee bags don't own girls, they don't possess girls. The girls have pee bags. So it's not that way round. And bags already is a plural word, so we don't want it in there. We're not talking about possession there. So I just wanted to show you that because that's a really common mistake that many people make when they are writing and they're starting to use apostrophes. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint again. On this one. Okay. So it's going to be your turn now. I've done some examples. Now I want you to have a go. So I'm going to read out the sentences and where are you going to put the apostrophe in these sentences? So after I've read all of them out, and then we need to have a pause and have a go for at least 5 minutes, copying down each sentence and putting the apostrophe in the correct place. So number 1 is Michael's torch was broken. So where would your apostrophe go in that sentence? Michael's torch was broken. Number 2, it was Mum's turn to do the telling off. Number 3, my brother's idea was a good one. Number 4, cats' tails twitch when they see a dog. Don't forget what I've just spoken about, misusing apostrophes where they don't need to be. So only one apostrophe goes in that 4th sentence. Coffee spilt on Ross's knee. Coffee spilt on Ross's knee. The knives' handles were all silver. Same as number 4, only one apostrophe goes in this sentence. Okay, pause the video. Have a go at these questions, 5 minutes, then I'll be back again and we'll reveal the answers on the next page to tick and fix if we've done those correctly. Okay, are we ready? So get another colour pencil if you have one, or just use your normal pencil. We're going to tick and fix these sentences, making sure you have your apostrophe in the correct place. So Michael's torch was broken. So we wanted the apostrophe after Michael and just before the S. So apostrophe S. Number 2, it was Mum's turn to do the telling off. So whose turn was it? The turn belongs to Mum. Number 3, my brother's idea was a good one. So on the apostrophe S after brother, because the idea belongs to the brother. Number 4, all cats' tails twitch when they see a dog. So we were talking about a plural cats, so more than one cat, cats' tails twitch when they see the dog. The tails belong to the cats. I didn't want to see an apostrophe here because nothing is belonging to the tails. So that is just a plural word on its own. Number 5, coffee spilt on Ross's knee. Now on the previous slide, I did notice that the S wasn't put in place when it just says Ross knee. So I wanted Ross's knee. So a name ending in S, just like Jess, just like James, just like Iris. We add an apostrophe and add another S. Number 6, 6, yep. The knives handles were all silver. So very similar to the fourth question. The knives is plural, so we add the apostrophe at the end. The handles belong to the knives. Handles, remember I didn't want to see an apostrophe here because I'm just talking about a plural word, handles. Nothing belongs to the handles. Okay, so quick reminder as well about apostrophes for possession. Don't forget we have that other use of apostrophes, using them for those missing letters. So just a recap of that one, which we should already know. We put an apostrophe where a letter is taken out. Don't feed the birds. What is don't short for? You should all be able to tell me this, and I think I can hear you through the video. Say it. Do not feed the birds. Okay. They would have found food for themselves if you hadn't fed them. 2 in this one. They would have. What is would have short for? Why am I using that apostrophe there? What are the 2 words together? How to say it? Say it out loud. I can hear you. So it should be would have. Would have. So in fact, I'm getting rid of 2 letters there. I'm getting rid of the H and the A. Would have, would have, and hadn't, a bit like don't. Hadn't is short for had not. Okay. So hopefully you're all confident. On the next slide, we've got our task. If you need to recap everything that I've just said, go back through the video and watch the parts that you need, and you can skip ahead to the task again. So today's task. Oh, there's one more. I'm sorry, I didn't do that one. Is to write sentences with apostrophes. Writing sentences with apostrophes. Shouldn't be that. Writing sentences with apostrophes. I don't need the A there. So your sentences, I've done the first one for you to model. The torch of Michael was a prized possession. So your sentence underneath, you need to reword that sentence using an apostrophe. So I've only started you off. I've put Michael's torch was a prized possession. That still needs an apostrophe. So let's read it again. The torch of Michael was a prized possession. With an apostrophe. Michael's torch was a prized possession. So where do you need to put the apostrophe? I've just put in the reminders on the side here for you. So when do you add an S? When do you add an S, an apostrophe S when the name already ends in S? And when do you add an apostrophe when it's a plural word? So the reminders are there. I'll read through the next few sentences. Torches for children are often made of plastic. So think about how is that sentence going to be put together? Who is going to own what? So the idea there is the torches. That's our main subject. Who do the torches belong to? Writing your sentence, make sure you have your apostrophe in the right place. Third sentence. Equipment of soldiers often includes underwater torches. Equipment of soldiers often includes underwater torches. So our main noun in that sentence, what's going to be owned is equipment. Who owns the equipment? Your fourth sentence, the bulb in the torch did not work when it was wet. So we're talking about the bulb. Who owns the bulb, or what owns the bulb? And your last sentence, the batteries in the torches run out quickly. So we're talking about the batteries. Who or what owns the batteries? What is using the batteries in that sentence? Okay. After you've done those ones there, I want you to have a go at writing at least 3 of your own sentences using apostrophes for possession. And you might want to use the poem to help you that we have been looking at, the torch. That might be a really good theme to use. Okay, so pause this video, spend at least 10-15 minutes writing up your sentences Make sure you put your apostrophe in the correct place. And on the next slide, we've got a quick quiz, a quick plenary we're going to do, and then we're going to do our self-assessment at the end. So pause the video right now. Okay, so you should have spent a long time there having a go at your sentences. So now we're just going to do the challenge, looking at the plenary. Where do we add our apostrophes? The forks, prongs are all bent. It's strange the way you can't see any spoons. My brother's theory is that the knives are having a day off. What's your theory? Spoons' handles are not as long as forks' handles. Tomorrow isn't the knives' day off. So it's going to go back to those. So A, the forks' prongs are all bent. Who do the prongs belong to? The forks. Okay, so that's a possession sentence. B, it's strange the way you can't see any spoons. I didn't spot any possession in that sentence, but I do spot two words that should have an apostrophe. See if you can spot them. It's strange the way you can't see any spoons. Have a think. I'll reveal the answers in a moment. C, my brother's theory is that the knives are having a day off. So there's nothing in that sentence that I can read that needs an apostrophe for a missing letter, but there is a possession. My brother's theory. Who does the theory belong to? The brother. So that's a clue where you want to put your apostrophe. And D, what's your theory? No possession in that sentence, but we do have a word that will need an apostrophe in because it's two words. What's your theory? What is that short for? And E, spoons' handles are not as long as forks' handles. Okay, we have possession in that sentence and two places where we want possession. And F, tomorrow isn't the knives' day off. So we have an apostrophe there for contraction. So two words that should be apart have been put together and we're missing an apostrophe. So have a think. I'm going to reveal the answers now. The fork's prongs. The prongs belong to the fork. It's strange the way you can't see any spoons. So that one we wanted an apostrophe for it's, short for it is, and an apostrophe in can't for cannot. And C, my brother's theory is that knives are having a day off. The theory belonged to the brother, so we want the apostrophe for possession there. What's your theory? Remember, what's is short for what is. So what is your theory? E, spoons' handles are not as long as forks' handles. So the handles belong to the spoons and the handles belong to the forks. So we have apostrophes for possession there. F, tomorrow isn't the knives' day off. Oh, that's actually two in this one. I didn't spot that. Isn't is short for is not. And the day off belongs to the knives. That's one thing I didn't actually spot in there. Okay, so think about how you have gotten on today. How did you get on? Have you identified an apostrophe for possession? Could you place the apostrophe in the sentence correctly? And did you write your own sentences using the apostrophes correctly? Have a think. Okay, well done today, Year 3. Do not forget, it's really important you send your work to your teacher. Don't forget the email is on our class web pages, either 3S or 3C at hanfordhall.omat.org.uk. Okay, goodbye. See you tomorrow.